just in the way, never the same, wasting time, no reason why. I'll be waiting for the light of day, I'm wide awake, losing faith, lost and fighting for the truth that hides within my mind. One last time. I must be wrong. You think I'm blind. So much for trust. So much for trust. You paint your lies in black and white. Your colors show more than you know. I'll be waiting for the light of day. I'm wide awake, losing faith, lost and fighting for the truth that hides within my mind. One last time. You paid your lies in black and white. Your colors show more than you know. I'll be waiting for the light of day. I'm wide awake, losing faith, lost and fighting for the truth that hides within my mind. One last time. The touch of our innocence is fading.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Big Dog Brett. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. I get the analytics. When you're a YouTube content creator, you get an analytics, and your analytics tell you how many times your videos have been shared. And I think a grand total of 3 times all of last month the video was shared. What's going on, people? How am I supposed to get to 5K? Yeah, so go ahead and share when you get a chance. You can hit the share button. Put it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook groups, Snapchat, Twitter, Framacotion, whatever you're using these days. Put it on there. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. All right, let's go and see what we got in the stream today. Appreciate you guys being so prompt today. TikTok Chess Hall, what's going on, buddy? Eric Wallace, thank you very much. Colby, how's it going? Begging Megan says, does anybody still think we're cursed? No, we don't. Let's see. What's up, Michael Porter, one of our resident members? Thanks for being here, sir. Make sure you get your money's worth. Show up to every show. And he does. Okay. Let's see. James Burks. How's it going? Pizza Woman says, yo, Colby, what's going on? What's going on, little man? Come here. You're supposed to be in the bed. Can you say hello? What?
Like, subscribe.
Okay. You want a hug? You want to hug, or you just want to sit here?
I'm sitting right here.
Do you want to sit in your chair?
Yes.
Okay, let's get your chair up here then. All right.
There it is.
There it is.
Right here.
Oh, yep, right here. You ready? Tell them go dogs.
Go down.
All right. So what's going on? All right. What's going on there, Uncle Lou? How you doing, sir?
Hi, Daddy.
I don't have socials, but I would. Bye-bye. Love you too. Night-night.
Bye.
Night-night. What's going on, Pastor Dave? How you doing, sir? Uncle Lou in the house. Welcome to the show, sir. Brad Pitt. Pastor Dave says, hit the thumbs up is what I believe he meant to finish saying. Michael Porter with the, I like it, sir. Let's go. Brandon says, Uncle Lou, I have a question. How do you get away with playing Tool music? Do you have to sign so? Do you have to sign so? I'll save Uncle Lou the trouble of typing it all out. It has a lot to do with them having a digital thumbprint on their music because the YouTube algorithm does not recognize it. He can play that music. He has said so in multiple videos, and the moment that they do that, he will no longer use Tool music. There is rock music out there that you can use. Anything that's labeled as NCF or non-copyrighted. You can go to YouTube and look up anything that says non-copyrighted. What's up, Johnny Bolton? And find stuff on there. On occasion, it will say that it's been copyrighted, and your video will get flagged. What you can do is you can go back, you can cite that video, copy the source, send it in your appeal, and YouTube will recognize that as being non-copyrighted, and then they will release the video. Are you back? Are you going to sit here with me?
Yes.
Okay, let's get up from your chair. There you go. You good? Are you going to sit with Sissy? Go watch Unspeakable.
Come on.
You need to be laying down. Go. Okay, take your dog. It'll be here in the morning. All right. So, yeah. All right. So, lots to jump into tonight. We're going to get through it as quick as we can. Yeah, I'm having a great hair day today. Yeah. So, let's go ahead and I'm going to throw out the invite. If you guys care to join the show, feel free to do so. Yeah. Also, before we jump into anything, we're going to talk about BVD. BVD has a GoFundMe. If you go over and check out Celine Driver's latest video, you will find a link to the GoFundMe page, I believe, for BVD. He's trying to raise a little bit of money. He's got some medical bills that are going on. If you guys want to help him out, feel free to go over there and do so. A lot of us already donated earlier today. If you can, donate 15, 20 bucks. 20 bucks, not a lot to us. And BVD has contributed quite a bit of content to the YouTube community for over a number of years. So if you've ever watched his videos, maybe you haven't given him a dime of your time, feel free to try and support him now. It would be greatly appreciated. Okay, let's go. Brandon says, Brett, there's a song called Tourniquet by Breaking Benjamin. Listen to the intro. It would be a sick intro song. The drop is brutal. Yes, I will check that out, sir. All right, so apparently breaking news, George Pickens has been seen at practice for the last couple of weeks. He's now with the scout team, which is good news. Being scout team pretty much means that he's just he's healthy and he's getting back in the rhythm of what they call game time or game conditioning, getting him back up to speed. Would be really nice to see George Pickens back, especially in a hostile environment like Tennessee. So, yeah, it would be really nice to have him back. And by all means, if he's playing with the scout team, it's highly likely he'll be back. But if you watch Kirby Smart's pressers, there's no way of knowing when anybody will be back. The typical information we get tends to be along the lines of we're assessing it day to day. We want to get him back just as quick as you guys do, but there's a process and we're going to go through that. So that's what we're seeing a lot of. But we're going to have a lot of guys back. Rosemary Jackson, I believe, is going to be back. Karis Jackson will be back. We saw Jermaine Burton last week. Darnell Washington should be back. You've got Brock Bowers, who's going to be on the team contributing as well. You're also going to see a number of other players out there that's going to be helping the offense get moving forward. Now, there's a lot of talk back and forth, and I've lost, I don't know, probably 15 or 20 subscribers, and I think it's over this point of view that I have. I think that there's a lot of people out there that are absolutely enamored with Stetson Bennett. This reminds me of the Jake Fromm situation, guys. While everybody is very happy about Stetson Bennett, there's a lot of people out there that know that when you've got a quarterback that can throw for 400 yards, it makes it hard not to want to go with that guy. Now, if you look at last week, I think Stetson Bennett had like 255 yards basically in one half, which would be along the pace of a 400-yard game, even if we dialed it back and we pulled him out, late in the game. He could still get to the 400-yard marker. And he's mobile. Georgia's been saying forever, we want a mobile quarterback. Now we have one. So now we've somehow managed to come up with a quarterback controversy all over again at UGA. I don't know how this continues to happen at UGA, but it seems to happen quite a bit. What's up, James Willoughby? How you doing, sir? Says, I think he will be back by the SEC title. If Bennett keeps balling out, I don't know we're going to be able to get Kirby Smart to budge on that. Let's see. What's up, Rael? Is it Rael or Rael? Riel, like Michelle, but Rael. Okay. Maybe I said it wrong. I apologize if I got it wrong. What's up, Brad Pitt? He says Adam Anderson will not be back. Now, the last I heard of Adam Anderson was accused but had not been charged. So I don't really know what has progressed with that. I haven't really been keeping up with it. The last thing I see is from, I guess, around the 5th. Adam Anderson's attorney asked Georgia to reconsider suspension that followed a rape allegation. He's under investigation, but here we are 6 or 7 days later. I'm not a fan. He's officially charged now. Let me see. I'm not a fan of jumping to conclusions. Let me see if I can find that. I'm not seeing anything here where it says that he's been charged. Can you cite the source on that, sir? All I see is no, he's been charged now. I can't find it because I actually typed in Adam Anderson charged. Adam Anderson, UGA, charged with rape, and there it is. Okay, it did update. I guess he did get charged with it. He was booked into the Clark County Jail at 7:45 yesterday. No, today. So that must have just happened. According to online booking report, he's being held without bond. He was suspended from the team. Allegations, blah, blah, blah. Well, he is guilty until proven innocent in the court of public opinion. I'm just the other way around. I want to know what happened. I'm not saying anybody's right. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. I just have a background that tells me Rael. Okay, I got it, Rael. If he did it, full extent of the law and then some. If he didn't do it, that's a horrible thing for anybody to be accused of. I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I wasn't there. I don't have any of the information. I don't know any of the evidence. I don't know any of the testimony. I don't know what happened, so I don't know. TikTok said I did a video on it and got the ESPN update a little bit ago. Okay, well, I didn't get an ESPN update on it. I don't know why I didn't, but it is what it is. Adam Anderson, sir, I don't know what to tell you, but hopefully that this is a bump in the road, as they say, and that you will be found innocent if you are innocent, and if you are guilty, prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and then some. Okay. He's done screwed himself. Well, you don't see. Here's the thing. From having the background that I have, I can absolutely tell you that there have been cases in the past where people have been accused of things they didn't do, and it takes a long time for that information to come out. Once it does come out, then you tend to find out, well, the damage is already done because the reputation is tarnished, and so it's hard to recover from that. Some people will accuse people of things knowing that it's going to be found out to be false solely because they want to tarnish their reputation. I don't know if that's the case. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying I don't know what happened. So, yeah, just searched and found several posts about it. He did turn himself in. Well, I mean, it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. Next man up as far as I'm concerned. So, but back to the JT Daniels situation. JT Daniels looked okay last week. Stetson Bennett looked okay last week. Stetson Bennett looked like he underthrew some balls, threw some great passes downfield, but there were times whenever he did struggle. He is able to create opportunities with his feet, which is great. But, I mean, what do? I mean, you got two really good quarterbacks. I was listening to Coach Donnan talk about that he thinks that both Stetson Bennett and JT Daniels do an outstanding job of reading the defense, which I didn't really expect to hear him say that. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. As long as we keep winning, I don't care. As long as we win every game, I don't care. I'm going to add Colby to the stream here. What's going on, sir?
How you doing, big dog?
Doing all right, my man. How's it going?
Pretty good, man.
I got to turn my TV. I got to turn my monitor down here. It's super loud. All right. So what's on your mind, man?
Not much, man. I just wanted to know about honestly about our defensive back positions. I know we're going to be tested eventually, and what do you think about that?
Well,
I don't know if it's going to be Ohio State, Bama, maybe Oklahoma.
First of all, I'm not worried about Oklahoma because they can't play any kind of defense. Oklahoma has actually been running the ball quite a bit, so if you make them one-dimensional, they're going to struggle. As far as the defensive back situation, UGA's defensive backs, I think, have at times been a bit lackadaisical. I feel like they have the speed and they have the talent, but I think because they haven't been tested, they really haven't been, I won't say, putting 100% into it. So I think that the Missouri game, the way it went down with Missouri being able to take advantage of some of the deeper shots that they were able to make happen from time to time was a great eye-opener for UGA early enough here at the end of the season to get it corrected. I think it's good whenever a defensive coordinator like Dan Lanning, Kirby Smart, or Will Muschamp can see that, here's the problem. Here is a problem. Now Missouri's got some receivers that are tall, and they've got some receivers that are very talented, but their quarterback's not that talented, so they never should have been able to hit those passes. This to me indicates either there was not enough effort put out by UGA, and there were multiple times in that game there was blown coverage. There was multiple times in that game where people were standing in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Missouri was able to take advantage of it. And so I really think that was almost, in a way, a trap game for UGA. But we just got punched in the face early enough that we figured it out. We still had some issues. We still have some issues to work through, but at least it was against Missouri and not in the SEC championship game where we were seeing that.
Right. Yeah, you mentioned trap game. I feel like this Tennessee game might just be – I don't believe in trap games, like at least on UGA's schedule at this time. But I feel like if there was one, Tennessee might be one. We're playing on the road. Tennessee does have a lot of plays. I think they had 100 plays, like 99 plays last week.
Yep. I think it was 97, but
yeah, something like that. Yeah. I'm not worried. I don't want to say I'm worried, but I think they might put up a little bit more points than we're used to be seeing.
So here's what I'm looking at, right? Tennessee has started playing better football throughout the season. They've obviously gotten better as the season has moved forward. I think Josh Heupel has this team believing that they can do more than what they've been doing in the past under other coaches, which is great. That's what they hired the guy for, to try and get the program turned around. Now, their offense at times has absolutely sputtered, but if we go back here to the past few games, they put up 38 points against Bowling Green at the beginning of the season, 34 against the Pitt Panthers. Then they blew out Tennessee Golden Eagles, 56-0. Played Florida and only scored 14.
The almighty Golden Eagles.
They played Florida and only scored 14. Then in the next game against Missouri, they boat raced them 62-24. And South Carolina, they beat South Carolina 45-20. Now, this is a team that's kind of having that hit or miss offense. None of these teams have good defenses. None of them, with the exception of maybe Alabama. You might say Alabama might have the best defense they've seen. You would say Ole Miss probably has a comparable defense. Ole Miss held them to 26. Alabama held them to 24. But Alabama scored 52 points on them. So it tells me that they really don't have a defense. Now, when they played Kentucky, they allowed 42 and they got 45 to win the game.
Yep.
It looks like their offense is starting to step up, but it looks like their defense is playing down at the same time. The last three games have been 31 points scored against them, 52 points scored against them, 42 points scored against them. So on average, they're giving up 42 points a game. If you're giving up an average of 42 points a game against whatever kind of offense you're playing, what are you going to do when you play like a number 8 or number 9 ranked offense in the country, like Georgia, like Alabama? You're going to give up 50-something points. The difference is that Georgia's defense is phenomenally better. So instead of giving up 24 points, Georgia might give up 14. So you're still going to see a huge change on that scoreboard and a huge gap. Georgia's favored by 20-something points. Georgia's been getting around 40 points a game. So that's going to tell you, okay, Georgia's favored by 20, 24 points. 40 from 24 is about 16 points. So that's really kind of where the line is. They're expecting them to get around 14 to 17 points. I think that's probably fair. This is probably going to be one of the better offenses Georgia has seen in a little while. I think that Georgia, if they score plays, it's going to be on big plays. Now, what a lot of people don't know, I got to talking now. You got to watch out now. I got to talking.
You're all good.
What a lot of people don't know is how many plays, and I'm going to ask you right up front, do you know how many plays Tennessee ran in the Kentucky game?
How many plays in general?
Yeah.
Shoot.
How many plays did Tennessee run against Kentucky?
How many plays? I would say 250.
All right, hold on. 250 plays. The average of game is about 80. So I'm gonna give you a chance to change your theory there.
All right, so I'm gonna go with 80.
Okay, you're gonna go with 80. Let me pull it up here. Where's the box score at? I'm looking at team stats. I need box score.
My sarcasm didn't come off that very well.
Right.
I just know they run a lot of plays.
I want to say they ran like 50.
You said they ran 97, didn't you?
See, at 27 attempts. Here we go. So rushing attempts, they had 27, and receiving yards 15. So that's 42 plays.
Yeah, 42. Okay.
So they scored 45 points on 42 plays. Kentucky had 49 rushes and 32 receptions, so they ran 81 yards. So why was Kentucky so explosive? Is it because Kentucky wasn't prepared? Because after the first half, they should have been prepared because, Tennessee scored 3 touchdowns and a field goal, and Kentucky scored 3 touchdowns. So they should have seen at that point that they're looking to throw the ball. Quarterback went 15 for 20. So at 15 for 20, they're throwing at a 75% QBR.
Right.
Now, you're looking at Will Levis, he threw at 69% QBR. So he's right there with them. If you look at carries, they had 4 carries for 55 yards, so they averaged 13.8. Jalen Wright averaged 7.1. He had 7 carries for 50 yards. And Hendon Hooker had 11 for 41 yards, 3.7, which wasn't necessarily that great. And then they had one guy ran for 9 yards, and then they had 4 plays that took for losses. They were averaging 21.1 yards per reception. So basically all of their plays were big explosive plays. It was like Kentucky just gave up on defense. Like defense didn't exist. Now, Kentucky's offense had to be more methodical. But let me ask you this question, and then I don't know if you've looked it up yet or not, but I want you to guess how many yards do you think of total offense Kentucky had against Tennessee?
350.
Okay. That's your guess. They had 387 in just receiving. They had 225 in rushing for a grand total of 612 yards of total offense.
What was the song you played in your video?
The
banjo
Duke
song?
Banjos, yeah. It was an exciting game to watch. Watching them go back and forth. And you're right, not just rocks. It looked like all of the Tennessee players were coated in oil. Defense, what's that, right? Georgia DBs are getting a lot better. They didn't look all that great last game. But, I mean, yeah, it was absolutely terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Tennessee has not seen a juggernaut like Georgia. They just haven't. And when they run up against Georgia, it's going to be a problem for them. Keep in mind, Tennessee also fumbled the ball 3 times. Lost it only once.
Do you have a score prediction yet, or are you gonna release a video?
No, I'm gonna release that in a video.
Gotcha. So when's your next music video gonna come out? You know what I mean?
I really didn't expect to get quite the reception I got on that, so I guess I'll have to do the next one next Monday or Tuesday. It's really been a while since I've actually put some video editing into stuff. I've kind of just been kind of running the simple format for a little while. But I guess I need to do some more video editing because apparently quite a few people like that. Now, my favorite one out of the whole thing was the Texas A&M cowbell, and the other one was the one on the edge.
Oh, I like the Michael Jackson one.
Yeah. Hey, if you can, bro, Dave, mute your audio device there. We need to do some more video editing because apparently quite a few people like that. We're getting a loop. My favorite one out of the whole thing. Yeah, I'm gonna have to mute you there, bro, Dave, until you turn the YouTube feed off.
Yeah, but yeah, man, if you could do that, maybe, bro, Dave. Yeah, I just really like that video. So if you keep that up, man, that's awesome. I've never seen anybody do something like that. It was just teams. It relates to music. Everyone likes music.
You got me.
Yeah, I got you, but I'm getting a lot of feedback from you there, Dave.
Yeah, I just really like that video. So if you keep that up, man, that's awesome. I've never seen anybody do something like that.
So, Dave, on your whichever the YouTube feed is, you guys use the YouTube feed. Yeah, I got you, but I'm getting a lot of feedback from you there. God, that's just terrible. Okay. Don't mute the studio. Go to the YouTube tab and mute that one. Are we good now?
Thanks.
All right, I think we're good. Okay. All right, what's on your mind there, bro, Dave? Go to the YouTube tab and mute that one.
These Alabama fans, man.
He'll get it. All right, you got it now, Dave? All right, let's talk about it. Go to the YouTube tab and mute that one. Dave, are you there? Can you hear me, Dave?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Is it still making noise?
There we go.
All good now.
This is one of our resident members here, Pastor Dave, man. He's been supporting the channel for a long time. Appreciate you, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what's on your mind?
I was interested. Did y'all look up the time of possession that Tennessee had the ball compared to Kentucky?
I did not, but if you give me about 2 seconds, I bet I can find it.
I mean, it was
yeah.
It was ridiculous.
46 minutes to 14 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and talking about the defense, and their defense is not that great, but it's on the field nearly the whole game, usually, you know.
Yeah.
So especially like last week, I mean, you know, just as well as I do, Big dog, I'm a Georgia fan. I'm a Bama fan, but I love Georgia too. And when you're talking about Stetson Bennett earlier, um, what's going to happen when Georgia actually plays a good team with him?
Well, I'm right there with you. But when you really look at Stetson Bennett's numbers, and you say, okay, Stetson Bennett, doggone it, it's Stetson Bennett, and he's terrible. And why are we playing Stetson Bennett when we know we have an offensive mastermind like JT Daniels? And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But the problem I keep running into is that Stetson's really not playing like the old Stetson. Stetson's playing much different. Stetson's playing much better. Yes, you can say that he's not as good as, say, maybe JT was at the end of last year. But what I can say is that JT Daniels has 1,400 yards in passing. And he also has almost 200 yards in rushing. He averages 7.1 yards a carry when rushing. Now, JT Daniels on 3 carries averages -5. So
Right.
there's a difference there. That does make a difference. The
Right.
last, let's see, 3 or 4 quarterbacks that won the national championship. Who won it last year? Oh, yeah. Mac Jones. Guy was pretty mobile, wasn't he? Then you got Joe Burrow. Guy was pretty mobile. Then you got Tua and Jalen, pretty mobile guys. And it just seems like that's kind of a trend where having that mobile guy adds a whole new wrinkle to it. Do I want JT Daniels back? Absolutely, I want JT Daniels back. But I got to have the JT Daniels that is comparable. Now, JT Daniels, in the short amount of time that he was here this season, he threw for 650 yards. His completion percentage was 75%. He has 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2 sacks. Now, Stetson Bennett has 19 more completions on 40 more attempts. He's at a 67% completion percentage, which is still really good. He's over 1,400 yards on the season, but he's got 14 touchdowns. That's more than double of what JT has on just 19 more completions. He has 4 interceptions, which if you do the math, that JT Daniels would be somewhere in the ballpark of 6 or 7. So it's really hard to say. We can't just jump out there and say Stetson Bennett this year is the Stetson Bennett of last year, because he's clearly not. Now, does that mean that Stetson Bennett's going to be able to perform to the level that we see out of JT from last year? I don't know yet. It seems as a whole that college football is on a down year and UGA is extremely dominant. Does JT here's the question. Does Stetson Bennett have to play at a Heisman caliber to be able to win Georgia a national championship?
No.
And I think the answer is no.
Not.
So
No.
Right.
I honestly think that Kirby Smart is very much of the mindset of, I want a quarterback who's not going to lose me a game.
There ain't no doubt. Well, I mean, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, and you heard me, and some folks laughed at me. Yeah, I'm a Bama fan. I like Georgia, but I do believe it's going to be A&M in Georgia, because I do not think Alabama can go into Auburn and win. Now, everybody's went off on me about that, but that's the way I feel. You don't know who you're going to get with Alabama right now. We're playing Jekyll and Hyde. You know what I'm saying? So
I do. One of the things that I look at is, looking at Auburn, it's really difficult to know what you're going to get, because they got absolutely demolished by Texas A&M, 20-3, and that's after they go out and beat Ole Miss.
Right.
And I gotta say this: I don't think Auburn's beating Alabama. I think Alabama will go to Atlanta. I don't think Auburn's going to beat Alabama.
I don't know, man. It's just hard for us to win there, and people forget this about A&M. At Big Dog, you know this because you do recruiting. A&M's got dudes.
They
Every
got dudes.
year, they're going to average in the top 7. You know, Bama and Georgia's going to be in your top 3, but Texas A&M's going to be in your top 7 every year. Have been. I think they was 8 last year, 6 the year before that. They're going to average around 7, and you got a good recruiting class this year. Where they don't have athletes like Alabama and Georgia on the outside. Now their defensive line and offensive line. Let me tell you something. They're not as good as Georgia, of course, this year, but they got a good defensive line, and y'all seen that Saturday if you watch that game.
Yeah. Well, if you look at Texas A&M, nationally they're ranked 8 in recruiting. Last year, this year, 2021 they were ranked 8. The year before they were ranked 6. If you go back to 2019, they were ranked 4th. So what you're seeing now is those guys that came in at rank number 4, they picked up 2 5-stars in 19, and they picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 4-stars. Right. Now, if I tell you there was a team out there that in 2019 picked up 2 5-stars and 13 4-stars, almost nobody would tell you Texas A&M. But that's because it just seems to go they just miss it for some reason. I don't know why, but they
you got to look at Jimbo. Jimbo Fisher is a good head coach. You got to give it to him. You might not like his morals or anything like that, but he is a good head coach.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, y'all know this. If like Mel Tucker or homeboy up there at Penn State, if one of them goes to LSU will be playing next year. They got dudes too. They're going to finish up there pretty close. That's just it with them. I mean, the coaching stuff they got going on down there, you sort of scratch your head, and people was going nuts about the game last week, and y'all seen it. It was pretty bad. We had a center get hurt, and it doesn't seem like anybody could come in and block after that for some reason or another. But they got dudes. Everybody's saying they're not that good. I was like, well, their backup's still 4 and 5 stars. That's what you got on the field out there, and y'all know that.
Yep.
Hey, Welky, appreciate the super chat, sir. He says everybody drop a 20 for BVD. If you guys can spare it, go over there and put a little money on BVD. He's going through some medical stuff right now. He's got a pretty bad, I believe it's a bacterial infection, and he actually has a port put in.
Yeah.
PICK line is what they call it. And he's trying to get transferred to another hospital. Apparently there's some type of $450 fee that has to be paid. I don't know if it's for the medicine or what it is before they can transfer him. It's just really hard on him right now. So if you guys go over there and put a little money on him, he has a GoFundMe page as well. I think the GoFundMe page is doing okay. But keep in mind, every day that he's in the hospital, he's still accruing bills at home. He's still, the medical stuff is still coming. So just the $450 to get him transferred over to the other hospital so that his insurance will help cover his stuff better isn't where it stops. He needs anything he can get from you guys, so I appreciate it. Thanks, Loki.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the best way to do it. Sorry, Brett.
It's kind of hard to hear you, Colby. You got to speak up, bud.
The best way to do it is through Carter's PayPal.
Through Carter's PayPal.
Carter's PayPal. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, there's Carter's PayPal. I think BVD has a PayPal, and there's also a GoFundMe. So
right. Yep.
You can do that.
Either one. Yep.
But yeah.
But I got money on BVD for the Slob Olympics. He's gonna take your throne, big dog.
That's a safe bet right there. He's gonna be in close contention. So yeah. Jordan Bowman, what in the wide world of sports is this?
I don't know. You tell me.
Hold on. I got to find something here. Where's it at?
Adam Anderson voluntarily surrenders to the police for rape.
Wow.
Police report.
Man.
Tough to see, man. I feel sorry for the family and the girl. Yeah.
Well, like I said, we gotta wait until everything comes out. You know.
Yeah,
He
you
surrendered to
gotta.
the police though, so
I mean,
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
He's
So
only been charged. You gotta let the legal
if you-
process.
I can tell you from my background, and I'll leave it at that. Just because you are charged with something, here's most likely the scenario that played out. They said, okay, we think we may have enough to prosecute a case. And you can be charged with something with very little evidence because they will go to a judge and they will say, hey, we think there's enough here, but we need to go through discovery to prove it. And discovery is whenever you actively charge somebody and then you kind of start digging into stuff.
Right.
When you go through discovery, that allows you to kind of open up, what can be found. There's plenty of people that are charged and then the cases are dropped because they go through discovery and they go, oh, this really didn't happen. Charging somebody is nowhere near enough evidence to convict anybody. That's why so many, they go to court, and that's what court's for, is so that you can defend yourself and you can get all the evidence out on the table and make a decision. So what likely happened is they said, okay, we're going to charge you. And they reached out to him. At this point, he had probably already talked to an attorney. His attorney had probably already been in touch with the Athens Clark PD. And they said, okay, if you charge him, let us know and we will have him come down. This helps you in a court because you're not getting arrested on a street block, and it goes towards you telling the court and the judge, hey, look, I'm cooperative. I'm innocent. I'm going to cooperate and all this other stuff. That's kind of where that goes. Just because somebody charged and turned themselves in doesn't mean they're guilty.
Gotcha.
A lot of times an attorney will tell you to go turn yourself in. A lot of times the attorney will talk with the police and they will say, hey, when are you going to charge my guy? And he goes, we're going to charge your guy today. And we'll say, okay, well, he's got some family matters he's got to take care of. We're going to have him. He's going to turn himself in on Friday. Is that okay? And they say, yeah, that's fine. And so, it may be Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, and then the guy turns himself in on Friday. Happens all the time. I've seen people get their bond revoked, and then they call a family member, and they say, hey, we're letting you know the bond's been revoked. Where's your guy at? And they say, well, he's actually out of town. He's going to be back on Thursday. I just talked to him. He'll turn himself in Friday morning. And they say, okay, great. And they don't push it. And then until the guy doesn't show up. Shane M says, laugh at us now. LSU will be back. Okay, Shane M. LSU. Oh, there you have it.
Yeah.
But Jordan, quick question. Were you looking for something?
Was I looking for something?
Yes.
No.
Are you sure?
Oh boy.
Wow.
Did I
This is
play
the
it?
best purchase I've had.
All right. What am I
Wow.
looking for? What am I
Looking for
supposed
that
to
offense, man. What happened? Come on, bro.
Hey, we scored 30 points for the second straight week. So,
How many?
30 points. I mean, I don't mean to brag or anything like that, but I mean, we have an average offense now.
Who did y'all
Y'all getting
play?
better. Y'all getting better.
Louisville.
Whoville? What?
Yeah.
Who did y'all play the week before?
Something called Louisville.
Who did y'all play before?
Something called Florida State.
You say FS who? What?
FS Pooh. Yep.
FS who? FS who? Okay.
That's exactly what. Yep.
Y'all played
Hey.
Oh
Louisville?
man, I gotta give
Like
you
from the
guys some
Grizz?
grief, man.
Yeah, we scored 14 on Georgia Tech earlier this season. So considering how far we've come since then, I will take 30 points.
Yeah, that's
Chad
a big
Etheridge,
improvement.
Chad Etheridge is asking, is Pickens back?
That is a big
Pickens is
improvement.
playing with the scout team, has been back for a couple of weeks, according to reports. I don't know when we'll see him, if we'll see him.
Hey, Michael
Hopefully-
Hogg's in here
Hopefully he will be back.
in the chat.
Hey, Bulldog JC, you're really hard to hear, brother. Maybe my sound.
I haven't seen Michael Hogg in a minute.
I know, right?
Yeah.
He
I don't know what to do about it.
Just got out.
So Big Dog
Can you hear me
Brett,
now? Is that
Go
better?
ahead. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Big Dog Brett, do you follow Sea Dog?
Do I follow Sea Dog? No, sir, I don't.
Oh, I didn't know if you saw his YouTube videos on Georgia Tech.
Well, he doesn't even know who his favorite team is, so
Exactly.
His favorite team is
Wow.
Georgia.
So you follow
This-
him.
this is this. Well, I've seen the outtakes where Uncle Lou's made fun of him. But if it wasn't for Uncle Lou, he would have very limited. He'd have very little exposure to me.
Oh man, he's a good guy. You should follow him. He has good live streams with Pete.
Oh yeah.
Good guy. You should check him out.
Sir, if I want to listen to a nerd speak, I will go and log into a Google class.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, C Dog's my boy though. That's my dude.
I think
boy,
he's
huh?
a good dude. I like
There
his
you go.
streams. I'd like to watch him flip out when Georgia Tech's losing and stuff.
Yeah, his
Funny
when Georgia Tech is being Georgia Tech and he's reacting.
And every time he goes to talk about Georgia Tech, he gets real quiet. I don't know what happens.
Because I keep losing.
Wow.
Mute me again. Do it.
I know you Clemson fans are glutton for punishment.
All right, Big Dog Brett. I got to get up at 4:30 in the morning, so I appreciate your stream. Thanks
Yes, sir,
for having
brother.
me, man.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you on. Appreciate you. So, for me, and there's nothing wrong with C Dog. I just like giving him crap because he's a Georgia Tech fan. I don't. It's not that I don't not want to watch him. It's just with what I do, my time is split between trying to do my everyday job, trying to be a dad, trying to help my wife clean up around the house, that sort of thing, which I
Right.
probably could do a better job of, and then also do my YouTube content. And then the little bit of time I have left is kind of diced between reaching out to other YouTube content creators and trying to schedule time to do, to be on their shows, and trying to take in all of the data that's out there so I can, give it to you guys. So a lot of times when I'm driving to my, because I do a lot of driving with my everyday job, sometimes I might drive an hour and a half, and an hour and a half of that time will be spent listening to a recruiting report, listening to updated reports from the other media that's been to the practices, press conference for what Kirby Smart said, what's going on with an injury report, what's going on with somebody being charged with a crime, which somehow I managed to miss that today, but it came out at 7:45, so I'm not surprised. So, I mean, my time is pretty compacted. Then once I get through all of that stuff, then I can watch the stuff I want to watch, which means I want to watch Between the Trenches. I want to watch Mr. Ballin because he tells these really cool stories, and he's an ex-Navy SEAL. And he talks about scary places and odd things that happen. I love listening to his stuff. It's kind of like a horror mystery thing about how people go missing and all kind of stuff like this. And then I watch college football highlights, and I watch updated news on whatever's going on with some of the political stuff around the country. And after that, it's like, okay, let me go watch Sea Dog. So it's kind of hard to get to all those things. Sea Dog is a single guy. He's in college, and he spends his time with his girlfriend and studying for school. And he makes a YouTube video here and there. That's great. But for me, it's just really hard to find the time to watch everybody. Like it's tough for me to find time to watch Uncle Lou's stuff. Like I listen to Uncle Lou in the mornings, like while I'm doing stuff, but I don't really get an opportunity to watch that show. How much coffee have I drank? I've probably drank a pot and a half today.
Wow.
But I gave up drinking soda, and I gave up drinking a lot of the garbage energy drinks that I was drinking. I used to drink 1 to 2 energy drinks a day, and I had to stop that. It's not good for your heart. It's not good for your blood pressure. So, stopped all that.
Right.
Michael Hogue says, "Oh, to you, Brett, and the others who are veterans like me, thank you for your service. Much appreciated, sir. Yes, sir. I am. It's my honor. What's the 33-year streak? I don't know what he's talking about. Anyway, appreciate all of you guys saying happy Veterans Day. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. I don't work on Veterans Day. I go to all the places that give out free meals and ice cream and stuff like that. So that's what I do on Veterans Day. So appreciate all you guys that have thrown that out there. But as far as the college football rankings and all that stuff goes, and the YouTube content creators, it's really hard to keep up with that stuff. I like giving C-Dog a hard time just because he's a Georgia Tech fan. As a person, I think he's really cool. But as long as he's wearing Clemson hats, I'm going to pick on him.
He deserves it. I mean, I don't endorse that behavior, but
so yeah. But I wanted to run through the college football rankings here real quick. They got the rankings came out yesterday, and I apologize, I missed it. I was pretty busy. I couldn't get to it, so it just sometimes stuff happens. Obviously, Georgia's at the number 1 position. Excuse me. Oh, coffee's wearing off. Alabama is at the number 2 spot. Oregon still at number 3. Ohio State at number 4. And they still got Michigan at number 5. Now, it's possible that both of these teams could still lose the game. Ohio State has to get past Purdue, Michigan State, and Michigan. I would be willing to bet that it is highly unlikely that they get through these 3 teams. It's unlikely that any team could survive these 3 teams, especially with the way that Purdue plays big teams. I know the matchup predictor has got them at like 90% or whatever. I could care less about that. They had the same thing about Iowa. They lost to Iowa. This team, you never know what you're going to get. They beat Nebraska. They beat Iowa. Which they only beat Nebraska by 5 points, but they beat number 2 ranked Iowa by 17 points. They beat the Sparties by 21. Or by 11. Not 21. So is it possible they go in there and play OSU tight? Absolutely. Then they got to turn around and play Michigan State. Michigan State's going to be fired up. They're going to want to win that game. So, can you say that those guys are going to lose that game? I wouldn't bet on it. According to the matchup predictor, they're giving the Sparties almost double the percentage chance. The Sparties are a 1-loss team. And the Spartans want to get back in the fight. They're going to play Maryland this weekend. They're going to work them, and then they're going to be ready for this OSU game. They got 2 weeks to prepare for Ohio State. Ohio State's got to prepare for Purdue tomorrow. Oregon, on the other hand, Oregon might have a problem with Utah, but who knows? They could very well win out. If they lose the second game, they're out. If Ohio State can't make it through this gauntlet, they're out. That'll put the Sparties back in. And so a lot of things could happen here. If Ohio State gets knocked out and Oregon gets knocked out, Michigan's going to jump up and Cincinnati's going to jump up. So you're going to see Georgia, Alabama, Cincinnati, Michigan State. That's what you'll see. And then it'll be Georgia's the number 1 seed. It might be Michigan State number 4, and then Alabama and Cincinnati, would be the 2 and 3 seed. The only problem with this whole mix is that Georgia will likely play Alabama in this SEC championship. If Georgia plays Alabama in the SEC championship, either Georgia's going to be the number 4 seed or Alabama is going to get knocked out entirely, because they're still going to let Georgia in with a 1 loss, because they will literally have the best loss in the country. People brag about, best loss, still loss. Yeah, I get it, but we're talking about the College Football Playoff Committee. They want the best team, and they're going to say, yeah, you lost, but you lost to the number 2 team or whatever. Same way Alabama got in a few years back.
Yeah, I don't think Georgia would fall to 4. I think they'd put them at 3 if Alabama beat them because they
Right.
wouldn't want them to play right after. Again, I don't think that's just my opinion.
I agree.
think.
Yeah.
And does Oregon not have to play Utah? They could actually play Utah twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could end up playing Utah
Yeah.
twice. It just
In the
depends on how it works out.
championship.
But here's the crazy thing. So Oklahoma is 9-0 right now. And Oklahoma still has to play the rest of their schedule, which has Baylor and Oklahoma State. They could lose one or both of those games. If they lose either one of those games, even if they win their division, they're still out because they've got Cincinnati at 9-0, ranked 4 spots ahead of them. So it's going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of shuffling, a lot of moving around right now. The only 2 teams, in my opinion, that really control their destiny is Georgia and Alabama. Both of them have pretty, I would say, weak exit exams with the exception of the SEC championship. Georgia's got to get through 3. Alabama's got to get through 3. The 3 that Alabama have to get through are, I would say, a little more difficult than Georgia. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've got this game circled. I don't know why, but I'm going to tell you right now. I think this Arkansas game might be something to watch.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people have forgotten about this, but one of the losses that Texas A&M has is to Arkansas.
Well, I mean, yeah, but their backup, that was like his second game though, too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it his first or second?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think his first game was Colorado, so it's probably second.
Yeah, I think he come in that game, didn't he?
Yeah.
Ain't that where the quarterback got hurt? Was Colorado? Yeah, I get it. Yeah, Arkansas had no business being at Texas A&M, in my opinion. For what we're seeing, but Texas A&M does this all the time. They get better as it goes on, But here's what it is.
The game's coming up on Saturday, and I'm going to run through these real quick because we're getting close to the 10 o'clock mark. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Let me close this other stuff out so it's a little less bandwidth. So I'm going to share my screen. Share. I'm going to do share. Chrome tab. There we go. Share. All right. That should make it pretty easy for you guys to see. We've got Alabama versus New Mexico State at noon. This would be the cheapest Alabama game you'll ever go to at $8 a ticket. So if you want to go see Alabama play for $8, there you go.
Don't waste your money. Don't waste your money.
I hope not. So Michigan over Penn State at 6 p.m. This could prove to be a pretty interesting game. But the game I'm really going to want to watch is this Oklahoma-Baylor game. This will tell us a lot about what we've got in Oklahoma, and I want to know. So watching these 2 teams play is going to be pretty interesting. It's a noon game, and it's just going to be the game to watch. I don't know what we're going to get in the Auburn-Missouri game. We'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping Auburn's not looking too far ahead, and they actually will play. Wisconsin versus Northwestern. Let's be honest, nobody cares. Florida versus Sanford. This is going to be an interesting game because they just fired a bunch of people over there at Florida. Dan Mullen's trying to save his job. He's another one who's living on a prayer. He's living on the edge. He's on the hot seat. If he loses another game this season, he's fired, if he's not fired already. I said early in the season that it was likely that, Florida has a standard for excellence, and they will fire you even if you win the SEC East. They will fire you if they don't feel like you did a good enough job. Don't believe me? Ask Jim McElwain. They
Come on.
So
that's right. Got him. Got rid of him.
Got him. Got gone. Looking at Clemson UConn game, I want to see what Clemson does against UConn. Not that it's really anything to be excited about. I just want to see if Clemson's actually going to quit, just like Florida quit. I don't think they will, but I want to see if they can improve. After that, I'll probably check in on the Utah-Arizona game. I want to see how Utah is stacking up. Utah's actually looked really good at times this season, and I think they could be the biggest obstacle in a certain team's way. We'll see what happens with that. You got the Georgia-Tennessee game. This is a game to circle. Georgia being number 1, Tennessee being unranked. Georgia needs to cover the spread on this. The Ohio State versus Purdue game. This will be a good game. We'll see if Ohio State can actually stand up to Purdue. I think Purdue is grossly underranked. I think they're going to do much better than what we saw.
Where are they playing that game at, Big Dog?
That's actually at Ohio State.
Okay.
So they're playing in Columbus. But I don't think that their fans are really going to show up for this game. It's a 3:30 game, which is better than a noon game. But everybody looks at Purdue in that particular conference, in my opinion. They look at Purdue like Purdue is like Vanderbilt. But this particular season, Purdue has been knocking off some big teams. So it's going to be interesting. I think Purdue is going to come to play. I think they've got a chip on their shoulder. And I don't know if Ohio State's going to be able to stand up to it. I don't know if enough of their fans are going to show up to make an impact. Michigan State versus Sparties. Michigan State should clear this easily. I don't see any reason why Michigan State wouldn't. Yes, a bounce-back game. I think they're going to tune up on Maryland, and they're going to say, hey, we're serious. They're still in the fight for, college football playoff. To them, this is a big, big game. So they get up for big games. Let's see what happens. Here's another interesting game, the Ole Miss versus Texas A&M game coming on at 7 o'clock. It's probably one of the best of the evening games, the afternoon games. I'm definitely going to watch this game. I think both of these teams – I think Texas A&M has really kind of found its identity, and I think Ole Miss is still trying to find theirs. I think Lane Kiffin is trying to figure out what to do with the playbook and the analytical book. He's just struggling. Kentucky's going to beat the fire out of Vanderbilt just because they've been mad all week, so you can expect a 111-0 score here. Notre Dame over Virginia. Nobody really cares about Notre Dame. They've already got a loss this year, so they're completely out. They seem to think that they still have a reason to play. Newsflash, they don't. They're not getting in. Wake Forest was ranked pretty high. They've had one loss. They're going to play NC State. I fully believe NC State could beat Wake Forest again.
Yes, sir.
I think NC State is going to want to show off a little bit, and this is going to be trouble. The ACC is having some troubles, and NC State's fixing to make it even worse.
I'm not sure I'm there. NC State historically has always played terrible at Winston-Salem. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
That may be the case. I'm not familiar with that, but you may be right. But I think this is going to be a good game. But I think NC State is going to win this game.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Wake. It helps our ACC championship hopes. We need NC State to lose twice. We can still beat Wake, and we just need Wake to lose another game. But
there we go.
We need NC State to lose. So,
well, that's like Miami needs some help too. If they went out, they may end up going.
I also just don't like NC State.
I don't either. I don't know why.
Then the same time we got the Arkansas LSU game. I think old Bacon Bits here is going to be out for blood. Sam Pittman has a great way of getting his team fired up. I think they're going to want to go out of the season. Going out of the season, they want to improve their stock for next year. This will help them in recruiting rankings. It'll also give them a jump start on next year. There's probably nobody on this stream that can name the last time that Arkansas was ranked and LSU wasn't.
No, me.
I mean, it's what Sam Pittman has done at Arkansas should make him the second best coach in the country.
Yeah, he's the man. I like Sam. He's doing a job up there.
I mean, to take the talent that he's got and turn that team around like that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Kansas versus Texas. Probably wouldn't surprise you. Texas winning this game. $5 if you want to go to this game. $5. Make you
Just open the gate.
Yeah, this is at Texas. Stadium's going to be empty. DKR stands for don't know really, and that means they're talking about how to play football. Don't know really. So Oklahoma State number 10 at TCU. Oklahoma State's going to thrash TCU. They'll probably win by 20. Oregon over Washington State. Washington State looked okay for a while, and I think you're going to see another one of those 26 to 13 or 14 point games. Don't know what's going on with Oregon. They look like they're falling off a cliff, even though they're still winning games. San Diego State didn't even know they had a team. Don't really care that they have a team because being ranked 22nd this late in the season is not going to do a whole lot of good for you if you didn't have some ranking earlier in the season. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Stop sharing. Yeah, that's what I told my ex-girlfriend you need to do. If we want to date you. All right, let's see. Mary Ann's Country Cooking. Hey, I just got a notification on my phone. It says, as everyone knows, we at Mary Ann's are super proud and greatly appreciative of our military. That being said, we at A&T Towing are teaming up to feed veterans tomorrow, Thursday, with a valid ID. All veterans eat free. Hope to see you then. Guess who they gonna be seeing?
There you go.
So yeah,
no doubt.
But it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a good day for college football tomorrow. We have some good games early in the day, good games middle of the day, a couple of good games late today. So there'll be some real football to watch here. But in the next couple of coming up weeks, it's absolutely going to get out of hand as things get shifted around. We'll see what happens. So, yeah,
No
you
doubt.
you guys have any questions? You guys, anything you want to cover?
Do you think that Tennessee is the best offense Georgia has seen so far?
I do.
I think that it would be a toss-up between Kentucky and Tennessee.
I'd give the edge.
agree
I'd
with
give the
that.
edge to Tennessee, not just because of the head-to-head game, but because Kentucky, like they played really well out of conference, but they haven't really sustained a lot of that production like in SEC play, and so
Yeah.
I mean that offense still isn't. It's not completely where they want it to be. So I'd give it to Tennessee. They've been more explosive throughout the season.
I would.
It also
agree that
depends
Tennessee-
on who comes out as a quarterback. If it's Hendon Hooker, he's looking good now. He's starting to get his rhythm down and everything.
Hooker's not hurt, is he?
No,
he's supposed to
not.
play. I think
He's supposed to
He's
play.
not. So
Yeah, no doubt.
thinking they might look good, but
So
I think
here's
we'll still
here's the
beat 'em, though.
question. Here's the question you have to ask yourself, since we're talking about the best offense that Georgia has seen all season, right? So you've got to say, okay, Georgia, what are you calling the best offense? Are you calling the best offense the one that is the most methodical? Are you calling the best offense the one that is the most explosive? Because if you're talking about methodical, Kentucky has a much better linear offense than Tennessee does. Tennessee's offense, well, they've lost 4 games.
Yeah.
So their offense, even though you say, well, we got late in the season, okay, you've lost 2 out of the 3 last games you played. And you're sitting on a record of 5-4 on the season, and Kentucky is sitting on 6-3. Now, the records indicate one's a little better, but they also played – Kentucky's also played Georgia. Tennessee hadn't played Georgia yet. So I fully expect Tennessee to lose this game, and then they will have half of their games will all be losses. In my opinion, when you've got a team like Kentucky that even though their defense gave up a bunch of points, they put together some very methodical, well-thought-out, well-planned drives, and they went and got 600-plus yards of offense. That's pretty dead-blame impressive.
That is.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a great point. I mean, me personally, I value explosive plays more than methodical, linear. I mean, you saw Tennessee won the game despite, Kentucky being, so, efficient on offense.
We lost you there, my man.
Yeah.
Yep.
We lost you, Jordan.
Yep. I just look at like gameplay. You look at Kentucky against, of course, Georgia. They didn't do much, but they let Mississippi State skull drag them down the field. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What was that? 31-17, something like that. Mississippi State.
Well, I mean, this is really what I look at. I look at, Will Levis for Kentucky is at 1,848 yards. Hendon Hooker's at 1,894 yards. Okay, fine. Hendon Hooker's at 64%. Levis is at 65%. Okay, close. One's a little closer to being elite than the other one. I get that, but you also got to take into consideration the way that the Kentucky game went against Georgia. If you take that game away from him, his numbers come up. But Kentucky already has almost 1,000-yard rusher in Chris Rodriguez Jr., and he'll break 1,000 yards this season. Then they've got Wan'Dale Robinson, who's at 811 yards. He's likely going to break 1,000 yards this season in receiving. So they will have a 1,000-yard receiver and a 1,000-yard rusher. Kentucky's closest, they got a rusher at 525 yards and a receiver at 553 yards. So if you're looking at elite players, I think Kentucky's got a better roster there.
Yeah, in areas. I think Tennessee's got better receivers as a whole, where Kentucky's got that one guy. Can't remember his name.
Yeah. Robinson. Wan'Dale Robinson.
I mean, they spread it. I mean, like last week, there was 2 or 3 receivers catching touchdown passes for Tennessee. Just wasn't one guy. And
right.
And they, like you said, Jordan, they are more explosive. I mean, they ain't on the field long. That's why their defense is not good, like I said.
Right.
But when you're going down the field and scoring and your defense is on the field the whole game, I mean, that's what Bama done to them. That was a close game up till about halfway through the third quarter, and we just beat them down after that. But their defense was shot, man. They'd been on the field. And
So
they're just moving the ball.
So what Georgia has done all year is they have made teams very one-dimensional. It's basically they take away the run. You got to beat them with your arm, and that's the only possibility that Tennessee has of beating Georgia or even competing is that they've got to beat them with their arm. Now Kentucky has a receiver at Wan'Dale Robinson who has 811 yards, and then you have Josh Ali at 331. Well, if you flip over to Tennessee's roster and you look at them, they've got a guy who's 553, they got a guy who's 525, and then they have a 365-yard receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they've got 2 good receivers at the 500-plus yards each, and then versus Kentucky having the one guy who's 800. And then you drop into the 300s and the 150s. I mean, they're practically identical stats after that for both teams. So they basically have one more receiver than Kentucky did. But Tennessee is more predicated on a run. Their offense is very balanced. It's 953 yards rushing to 2,100 yards receiving. Kentucky is a 1,600 yards rushing to 1,900 yards receiving. So they're a little more pass heavy, and they couldn't move the ball against Georgia. So Kentucky leans on the pass more than they do the rush. Kentucky is pretty much 50-50. That's not going to work against Georgia. Georgia's going to shut that run down, and then you're going to struggle just like everybody else. So
I think they score maybe 14.
I think if they score 14, it'll be on 2 blown plays. I'll even say they might get a field goal. I'll take a look at some more stuff into it. But, Tennessee may be playing with half a roster, but it didn't seem to hurt them against Kentucky. We'll see what happens.
Right.
No doubt.
But for
I
me,
don't think they'll even score 14. I think if they do get 14, it'll be garbage time touchdown or something like that.
Yeah.
I think you're close. I think what might happen is we might get a busted play. That might happen. But Georgia, once you cross the 40-yard line on the Georgia side, I don't know what happens. But it's like they flip a switch and they say, we will not give up another inch.
You ain't kidding. They own it.
They own it. When you start seeing these guys come flying around the corner, you see a Georgia defender out there meeting them, and it's like, wow. Now, we did do some sloppy tackling against Kentucky, but we got it turned – or against Missouri, but we got it turned around. I think that was a great opportunity from Georgia to learn from some mistakes. Georgia's getting healthier as most teams are getting more dinged up. So it's really interesting how things are going to play out. I think Georgia's going to have a full set of weapons at the wide receiver position. Running back position is always good, and you got 2 tight ends out there that can clean anybody's clock. I think you couple that with Stetson Bennett playing better than he played last week, which is not hard to do. And I still think Georgia's going to score 40 points in this game at least.
No, easy. Probably going to be worse than that. To be honest with you.
I still think JT is the better quarterback, though.
No doubt.
I'm pretty sure you probably agree with that.
No doubt.
I agree that JT probably has a higher ceiling, but what's the best way I can explain this? It's a difference between saying one truck has 4-wheel drive and the other one is a diesel. You know, one, you know, they're both trucks, but they have different jobs. So the question is which one's better? And the answer to that is, well, it depends on which application you're using them in. If you want a bad pocket passer, JT Daniels is your guy. If you want a guy who's mobile and makes the defense think, Stetson Bennett's your guy. So
yeah.
Then you got to throw onto the table. Then you got to throw onto the table that we don't know how mobile JT can be now that he's healthy again.
Right.
Stetson Bennett got another year. I don't care who's going to play because I'm over this whole QB thing. I don't really care anymore. We're going to win regardless. But I'm not going to – I'm just going to support whoever Kirby chooses. But I heard a lot of these Disney dogs talking about how JT didn't play as well the last game he played in, which was last weekend. Well, you got to consider that he was in there with second and third and fourth stringers. He wasn't in there with the first stringers. Right. So you can't really compare the two.
Here's the thing, and everybody says
it was a bad throw, but
there's
everybody
a reason
has a bad throw once in a while.
Oh yeah, and there's a reason why everybody says, "Hey, you got to knock the rust off." You actually have to get in there and play. There is no substitute for game time, and when you haven't played in 4 or 5 or 6 games, you got to get back used to everything. I mean, how many times have we seen even elite quarterbacks when they start off their first couple of drives, they look a little rusty? And they get into the rhythm. They go, well, they got everything figured out. It's smoothed out, looking good now. And you'll hear them after the post game. It's like, yeah, it took a little while to get comfortable, but once I got comfortable, we were good. You know, that's
I agree.
There it
goes. He still got another year, don't he? Stetson Bennett can play next year too.
Yeah. Both of them could come back if they want to. But
well, I've asked the question: do y'all think JT Daniels transfers?
No. Here's what you got. You've got Stetson Bennett, who's a senior who can come back next year.
Right.
JT Daniels is actually a junior. A lot of people think he's a senior. He's not. He's a junior. Yeah. He can be a senior next year and come back.
A junior.
You got Carson Beck, who's a freshman. He'll likely be back. You got Brock Vandergrift. You got Gunnar Stockton. And for some reason, we're trying to get Arch Manning. I mean, there's so many guys. Here's the quarterbacks we currently have: Carson Beck, Stetson Bennett, JT Daniels, Colin Drake, Austin Kursky, Jackson Muschamp, Nathan Presley, Brock Vandergrift. Guys, we have 8 quarterbacks right now, and only one of them's under 6 foot, and that's the one we're starting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So that's anybody can play quarterback.
Right. Well, when you got elite stuff around you, it's like Kirby was talking about, it's recruiting. And Georgia's got nobody recruits like Georgia and Bama. And
that's true.
You know, when you got everything around you, you can throw those rainbows like he does. It gets on my nerves. I'm like, what in the world? Because like I said earlier, y'all, I love Georgia. I live in Alabama. I'm a Bama fan, but I love Georgia. That's my second team, and I don't understand it. It's like I look at Kirby sometimes, and I'm like, it's like he's got that mindset. He's still at Alabama back in 14 and 15 with his quarterback. I'm just telling y'all straight up. I'm like, I don't get it.
Style, man.
I'm telling you, man, straight up. But
he definitely learned from the greatest. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, he learned from Daddy.
Let me throw something on the table for you now.
He was at LSU as well.
I'm not going to say that Nick Saban is not a great coach, because that would be a ridiculous statement. But I do think it is important to recognize that the three people that built the Alabama dynasty was Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, and Scott Cochran. Those three guys were the cornerstone when all of it started in 2009.
True.
Those three guys built an empire. And now Kirby Smart and Scott Cochran are both at Georgia. And you can see the pendulum swing. Now, do I think Nick Saban is going to be down forever? Absolutely not. The guy's too smart. He's too experienced. He knows what he's got to do. He's got a plan. He's going to be just fine. But as long as Georgia has Kirby Smart and a dominant defense, it's going to be tough. The defenses that we used to see coming out of Alabama now seem to be coming out of Georgia.
Well, yeah. Well, our defensive coordinator is y'all's head coach.
Yeah, where did he graduate from, though?
Georgia.
Okay, so y'all, we had him first. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. But you know where he cut them teeth at, though.
Well,
there ain't no doubt.
Yeah, but
LSU.
But
a little bit. You can say, Nick Saban brought him on, but Kirby Smart is the one that helped deliver those national championships. So that ain't no doubt. Hey, there ain't no doubt. But yeah, he's got a couple of them. He's got them rings somewhere. There's no doubt about that.
I honestly think the only reason that Nick Saban's choosing to stick around is because he wants to have more national championships than Bear Bryant.
I thought he already did.
He does. I mean, he's tied with Bryant.
He's tied at Alabama, but he's got more than.
He's got 7.
He's got more.
He got 6. Yeah.
He's tied at Alabama.
Right.
I'll say it like this: if he goes 2 years in a row where Kirby Smart dominates him when he plays him moving forward, I think he'll retire.
Yeah. Well, and you got to look at it too with Texas and Oklahoma coming in, and you don't know how they're going to split us up, if they're going to put us sort of like what the NFL does in 4. Could you imagine? Because on the 4 side with Bama would be Auburn, Bama, Florida, and Georgia.
Yeah. Hey, what's up,
those 4? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, and here's what you got. I mean, Nick Saban's 70 years old, guys.
70.
In 2 years, he'll be 72. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, he doesn't need the money.
No.
He doesn't. He's got plenty of money. He's
plenty of it. Y'all don't. He makes so much on Mercedes, dude. It's unreal.
Oh,
I heard he owns like a couple of Mercedes-Benz
dealerships
and stuff.
He does.
Like,
I'll tell you something else.
For money
I'll tell you something else. I'll tell you something else about Nick Saban. You probably don't know. The college bought his house for him. They bought his house and gave it to him.
Think about that. Oh, he's got it, man.
He's a god in the state of Alabama. He don't pay for nothing anywhere he goes.
No, he don't pay for nothing, dude. He runs that place. That joker's as powerful as a governor.
Yeah,
think about that.
I believe it.
But I do think our next coach probably going to be Dabo.
Golly, I don't think he's smart enough. I don't think he'll fit. I don't think he'll fit to Alabama mold. I don't think the Alabama fans, the real fans, I don't really think most of them want him.
I don't know about that. They're not going to go the route these other ones do. They're going to have somebody in there that's won national championships, and that's my opinion.
I think Nick Saban's already got his successor in the program right now. That's my opinion. I don't think Alabama's going to go outside of their own program when Nick Saban retires. I mean, Dabo's still got he's 50. He just turned 50 last year. So I mean, he's got 20 years, at least 20 years in him if he wants to.
Right.
But I think that Dabo Swinney. That's just my opinion. I think Dabo's going to end up going pro.
Oh no. I totally disagree. That Dabo, his coaching style, it does not fit. It would not fit the NFL at all. It's different when you try to preach the family atmosphere and stuff in college. You can do that with 18, 19-year-old kids. When you go to the NFL, you're dealing with grown men. I don't think Dabo would fit, and I don't think he has much interest in it. If I'm being
I
honest,
could,
he's
I
been
could see, I could see Dabo going to Alabama, but as long as Dabo's got the setup that he has at Clemson, I don't see him leaving. Now, if they
No, it'd be
have
easy.
if they have like 3 or 4 losing seasons in a row, then I could see them pulling Dabo away. But maybe Luke Fickle might take over Alabama or
no. Luke Fickle's not coming down south. I don't think he's interested either. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Dabo's leaving Clemson. I think when he leaves Clemson, he's done. He's going to be done coaching. That's my I mean, obviously, I'm a fan, and obviously, I'm a huge Dabo supporter. But that, I really think it's just the vibe I get. I think he makes his career at Clemson and his legacy at and only Clemson.
Well, I can certainly understand why you would have that opinion. He does give off the vibe that he wants to. He does like putting players in the NFL. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But at a certain point in your career, when you've made more money than you can spend in your lifetime, then it becomes a goals issue. Nick Saban's already coaching the NFL, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
right.
Dolphins.
Yeah,
and I think that as a head coach who has those kind of abilities to coach an NFL, to coach college teams with such success, I think you kind of have to want to go pro just to see. Not only that, just to say, hey, I did it. It's no longer a money thing. It's, hey, I took players in college, put them in pro, and I coach pro. Now, whether you win a Super Bowl or not, that's another story. But my point is I think that I can see him having the mindset of, you know what, I want to try it. I want to see if I can do it before he retires.
Maybe I don't know. I'm of the opinion that when you've got something good going, sometimes the grass ain't always greener. And I mean, you see a lot of coaches that try their hand at the NFL and leave spots that they were happy at, and they don't find that happiness ever again. I think Dabo is happy where he is at Clemson, and I don't. I mean,
you want me to tell you
obviously he's accomplished more than most, but
I can tell you where he's not happy. He's not happy or comfortable using the transfer portal.
Oh, yeah,
there you go.
I mean that's true, but I don't think the transfer portal rules or anything like that. I don't think that's killed his love for college football. I think he
not
loves what he's built at Clemson.
Oh, I'm not saying he's going to go tomorrow. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think that because we're talking 3, 4, 5 years down the road. I mean, after you've won, X number of national championships, why wouldn't you want to try? And and I get the whole thing about how he loves being at Clemson and all this other stuff, but I also think there's an aspect of I'm extremely successful as a little league coach. What would it be like to coach in high school? Okay, I'm really good at high school. What's it like to coach at college? Okay, I'm just going to stop here. That doesn't really follow the mindset. I'm really good at coaching college. I wonder how I would do it pro. And I think that there's people out there that have the ambition and drive to coach in the college environment that want to try out NFL. And I can just see him wanting to do that.
Hey, Brett, I got to go, but thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no worries, man. I actually got to shut it down here. It's 10:30. I was only going to go till 10, but the conversation was so lively.
That's right. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, whenever Vodka Drinker brings up something real quick, and I want to address that, and then we'll jump off. He says, I actually think Saban will be an excellent athletic director. I would 100% agree that he would be an outstanding athletic director. I could even see him as like an SEC commissioner type of guy. He's got all the qualifications. He's seen it all. He's done it all. He knows everybody. Everybody knows him. And Nick Saban's the kind of guy that when he walks into the room, just his very presence commands a certain kind of response from people. And I think that's the stuff that real leaders can exude when they just walk around. They just exude that kind of confidence and respect. I think that he would be fair. I think he would be honest. I think he has passion for the sport. I think it'd be great as an athletic director or SEC commissioner.
Right. What about the top 4? All of them was on Bama staff in 15. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just.
Absolutely.
But I'll just say this: I don't understand as an Alabama fan too, and me looking at their coaching staff, and they got a lot of NFL coaches down there right now. One of them's coaching the offensive line, and it's a train wreck. I don't get that. And a lot of people over here, Big Dog, I don't know what you hear, but they're not real happy with O'Brien right now. Not at all with some of the play calling and stuff. They up in arms a little bit about him.
Well, and I'm guessing that you're just referring to this season, right?
Oh, yes.
So everybody was perfectly fine with the way Steve Sarkisian was doing until he had a bad game, right? And then Bill O'Brien steps in, and I got to be honest with you. I think it may be a little beyond his ability set. I mean, I get that he came.
I'm with you.
I mean, I get that he was a head coach of an NFL team, and they had a 50% record, and that they're trying to run a pro offense. And I think that this was more of a move to try and copy what Joe Brady did at LSU. But I just don't think this was the right guy.
No.
I don't think he'll be here after this season. And Alabama's made no bones about, swapping out offensive coordinators. I think this is what they're what?
Oh man,
fifth in the last 6 years or something like that. I think Steve Sarkisian was the only one that went 2 years in a row. So
Lane went 2, I think, and then the coach at Maryland was there a year or 2. And then Sark.
I think Loxley was only there was only there the 2018 season. I think
you're right. Yeah.
So to me, it's thanks, Michael Porter. We'll catch you around, brother. To me, I don't think the offensive coordinator position at Alabama is all that difficult to fill. I think they would have their choice and their pick of the litter. I think they just made. I think it was just a bad hire. It's just a bad hire, and it's just time to change them out. So they'll probably get somebody for next year because Alabama fans need, and are going to demand a 50-point offense every year. And if they don't get it, they're going to fire somebody. So what are you going to do?
There you go. You hit it,
guys.
man.
I really appreciate you guys jumping on.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you guys so much for being here. We're going to call it a night. We'll catch you guys soon. New videos coming out soon. We'll see you guys next time. You guys have a great day.
All right,
God bless.
You later.
Go Dogs.